you have a delicate sensibility, click the X button in the corner, or if you're on a Mac, the red button in the left corner. Monty, welcome to the show of offending people.
Well, it never happened and I make shit up. So just, for the last couple of weeks, everyone that has asked for a reading, apparently you're all from Scotland, from Hurley in Scotland. You all live the same lives. It's very metaphysical, because we're all one. And I can't read the Akashic Records. I didn't even have a card.
Meow. Welcome to another adventure into comedy. We are joined by my intrepid comedical co-host Monty Dean, and
allegedly.
we are also joined by the infamous paranormal writer Bruce McDonald, as he waves his little.
Hi guys.
I nearly did my classic joke of it's an audio medium. Then I realized, no, we actually have cameras on this show. Don't you love when you see
so
when you have
so novel for me?
Yeah, like when you're in groups of people and they're on camera and you say something in chat and they show the smiley face or lol and they've got the face of
they got they're not lulling at all.
No,
exactly. You don't even get a head bob out of you.
Yeah, I've worked with someone. I worked on a comedy show, and the one host that was with me would just go, "That's hilarious." And after the 8th times, then laugh. Don't say it's hilarious.
Exactly. Don't just do something. Show us it's funny.
I'm laughing on the inside. That sucks.
As my possessed phone is deciding to update and restart itself 10 times in a row. Well, the power of phone compels you to shut the fuck up.
Let's update right now because we know you're using your phone for an important thing. Right.
So get this, good old Microsoft has had to put 10 updates out in the last 72 hours because of an email hack. And for all us Mac or Linux users, we're going, ha ha, ha ha, ha ha.
Yep, as a Mac user, I would get a lot of grief for you use Mac. I'm a PC. It's okay. One question: what's a virus?
Yeah, what is that thing?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, when's the last time a Mac user has gone and started up a Windows computer? I did that the other day, and it took 8 minutes for it to start up. 8 minutes, and this is a new computer.
Sucks.
Right.
Did you feed the guinea pig and bless the right gods? See, that's
yes. I said, may the power of Microsoft compel you to work.
In mighty Bill, we praise.
Yes, I will vaccinate you, computer, please.
Yeah, there's your connection right there.
Yeah, why can't Windows vaccinate its computers?
Yeah.
But they want to vaccinate us.
Exactly. Why would we trust somebody who can't get rid of a virus on a computer for vaccinations are?
Yeah. And why is he becoming a farmer? It's just, it just for conspiracy theorists, Bill Gates just makes it so easy. He's a good businessman, not a good person, good businessman. But he doesn't know how to code. He doesn't know how to stop viruses. He hasn't got a medical degree. He's not a farmer. He just has a lot of money. He's like a very crap version of Iron Man and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. You're sullying superhero name by more like he's Space Taxi and one of those other Justice League nobodies.
Well, exactly. He's no Lex Luthor.
Definitely he's no Lex Luthor. He's more like Pizarro and Pinky. From Pinky in the Brain.
What are we doing now? Someone's telling Bill Gates what to do. Have you heard that great theory that Melinda and Bill have had a sex change and became each other?
No, I have not heard that.
Well, you look at Melinda Gates now and it looks like Kevin MacLeod. It's scary. Oh, hang on. We're getting a dog report.
Those aren't sound effects for me.
I see it, Dad. I see a tree. I see a tree, Dad.
Somebody has the audacity to walk down my road.
Exactly. I'm gonna bark at you, damn it. You hear me bark?
He never knows. Everybody who needs to know him knows him, so I don't have to worry so much anymore. And if they don't know him, then maybe it's a good thing. he's
They're about to
barking.
get in. They're about to get introduced intimately.
Oh yeah, he comes right up and he'll check you out.
So, you ever learn to speak dog?
Well, I do everything with eye contact with this guy, but the level of intelligence I've observed in animals around me since I moved here is just astounding. I remember one time I used to have 2 American Staffordshire Terriers, but they kind of packed up and they were too aggressive, so I had to give one. I gave one to my mechanic down at the base of the mountain. But when the male was younger, he was still allowed inside the house, and the female was not allowed in the house. And she used to take the food bowl with her front right paw and move it back and forward and make eye contact with the baby pit bulls. Bring some of that food out here. Bring some of that food out here.
That's cool.
Yeah, my son noticed it first. He said, "Dad, are they communicating?" I look at the bowl. I look in the house. Yeah, they're communicating. That is like full on language.
That's
Help a
straight up.
sister out, man. Come on, man.
Kibble.
Help a
Bring
sister
the
out.
kibble.
Come on.
That's the Costa Rica hustle right there.
There it is.
Exactly.
You bring me food. I help you outside.
The horse is the horse looks at me like I'm an idiot. Like this horse, I think, is smarter than me. Pitufita, which is Smurfette in Spanish. I think this horse is smarter than me, knows more than me, has more perception than me. But she's something else. It took a while to get the dog and the horse to get along because the natural work of my breed of dog is rounding up horses and cows, right? So
Right.
every time I go into a cow field, I went to the reserve with my dog one time. I don't take him there anymore. He ends up in all these bullfights, squaring off with these bulls. It's like the most amazing thing you've ever seen. But the bulls recognize him right away, like, hey, that dude's here to rumble. And they all just sort of
it's like get the
congregate.
chains. Exactly.
Right.
We're gonna put on the
Exactly.
exactly. We're gonna put on the leather jackets and we're gonna cross those tracks.
Yeah, it's Thunderdome. Yeah, yeah.
Now, Bruce, with the horse, do you speak to the horse in Spanish or English?
I don't speak to the horse. That's my wife's
Okay.
horse. That's
Probably what it
I
is,
just-
because it probably hears you speaking
what I do-
English and everyone else is in Spanish. It's like, what the hell's wrong with this guy?
Well, what I do when I want to communicate to an animal is I'll make eye contact and then I'll think about what I want them to know. I'll think about it imagistically and then I'll sound out the words. I'll do both languages.
Oh, yep.
I don't know how it's working so far, but they know I'm talking to them. It's just whether they want to listen. Now the dogs, man, he's just like, yeah, we have like a 724 for like 4 years now. This dog's been at my side. I think I've left the mountain for like maybe the most was 2 months in 2018. But the level of bond you build with an animal that's with you 724. If I leave the property, he walks with me. If I stay, Rosemary can leave, he stays here. He stays with me. He's the only other person he's this bonded with is my son. Last time my son visited, the dog and my son hadn't seen each other for about a year, and Soul just ran out, flipped on his back, and urinated on himself. He was that happy. Yeah, a little doggy golden shower there. And then, yeah. So I've never had these many animals around me before. I mean, I lived most of my life in Toronto from 20 years on when I went to university. And I've never had a dog before. This is my first dog. So now I'm just like the animal guy now. My wife, I have neighbors that can call birds to their hands. And, I don't know what it is. They've just been living up here their whole lives. I mean, but I've seen it with my own eyes. They do a little call, there might be a little food in there, but the bird comes right in and lands in their hand, and they can do a one hand hold and do a one finger stroke of the bird and then let it go. I've never seen anybody do that before except Costa Rica.
Well, I still maintain Costa Rica is the modern day Garden of Eden.
Yeah. So my wife tells a story about buying pigs from the natives. Any pig that was born on the reserve wants to go back to the reserve. So you buy a pig off of the reserve at like 20 kilograms, which is about 2 months old. When it gets to about 30 kilograms in about 3 weeks, it'll bolt and go back to the reserve. And you got to go back and get your pig. And it's like 5 kilometers away. And you got to walk up there. You got to walk back with your pig. It's a whole day. It's 10 kilometers of walking to go get a pig. Pig will do that. Pig will do that 2 times. And then the natives will say, no, you don't live here anymore. Don't come back. And then the pig will
homing pigs.
Everything born on the reserve returns to the reserve. It's just the way it is. And if a Costa Rican has a child with a native, he will invariably gravitate to the reserve, even if it's at the end of his life. It's like a magnet. They'll go back there. Yeah. And you're not allowed to go on the reserve unless you have permission and they know you. And they don't really need, there's no visible security force, but a lot of guys will sneak up here and they'll hunt. I forget what it is. It's not a possum. It's not a badger. They have a small, like 20, 25 kilogram mammal over here. I forget what the name of it is, but it's alleged to be one of the most delicious meats you'll ever taste in your life. And they've tried domesticating them, but it doesn't work. So guys will come up here and they'll hunt. And what happens is they'll go on the reserve land, they'll get home, and their whole family will get the runs for like 3 days. They'll get the shits. This is very, very well known. Very well known.
The curse of the Kabakar shits.
There you go. Yeah, you'll get the shits. And so, yeah, that's the reserve up there. I don't go up there unless I have business or unless I'm asked to go up and visit.
There's a great Australian slang of cracking the shits, which is you're angry. I don't know where it came. He cracked the shits. It's like he seems to be upset. But if you think visually, it's like crack.
Well, suddenly somebody named iPhone jumped in.
Yeah, and coughed or something.
And coughed, exactly. The curse of more phones coming through.
It's Spartacus iPhone. That was funny. That was funny about yesterday's webinar. You had just gens across. I'm Spartacus. I'm Jen, and so's my wife.
Exactly. We just had 42 GH gens on there.
Very hard to communicate. It's like, well, JH Jen is arguing with JH Jen.
And then she finally went the real Jen.
Which made that made it a bit easier.
Which was just freaking funny.
Yeah. Modern technology, 2021 and nothing works. There's a theme of this reality.
Well, imagine being back in the vacuum tube era.
What things did work?
No, TVs broke down all the time back then. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know.
A TV repairman was actually needed.
That was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a thing back in the day. I grew up with a guy whose dad was a TV repairman, right? You change the tubes and stuff like that. But that was a thing back in the 70s.
What about the crystal radios 100 years ago? They didn't really break down, did they?
Spicoli?
Oh, no, those things broke down all the time.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Remember Spicoli?
Didn't he order a pizza in class?
My dad, when they crashed the car, don't worry about it. My dad's a TV repairman. He can fix it.
He can fix it, exactly. He can fix it.
I've been a musician. I know that tubes have a better sound because they've got more warmth, but now technology is able to replicate that. And so everyone's gone to microchip and solid state and amp modeling. So it's fascinating. It's like vinyl and CD are both good. They just have different properties, if that makes sense.
Yeah, different listening qualities. Mm-hmm. So this is dating me a little bit. Who remembers having to be the antenna bitch?
Well, yes, I'd like to point out, you know how like you wear a
rabbit ears
hat. Yes, tinfoil hat. You know, go, you're wearing a tinfoil hat because you're a conspiracy theorist because it blocks the signal. No, I've used an antenna. That foil amplifies the the frequency.
Right. So when my dad was watching the Cleveland Browns game, this was back in the early 70s. So I must have been 4 years old. So I was 78-ish. I remember being the antenna bitch. And for some reason, our antenna on that TV broke, and there were 5 or 6 coat hangers coming out, making this weird shape.
Yep. Perfect. Don't move. And you're like this.
Exactly. And I'm stuck there for the kickoff. Stop moving. I'm not moving.
Don't you move or you'll be grounded till you're a teenager. Okay, Dad.
Exactly. As they're watching the Cleveland Browns, play their sports game or whatever.
Yeah, sports ball. Yeah. It's fascinating now. Like my mum and her partner, they have pay TV, cable. Well, it's not cable. They have a satellite dish. And the weather's the only problem with it, because if there's enough electromagnetic interference, they lose signal. And it brings, if there's a flat Earth, what the hell is the dish pointing at if it's not a satellite?
Well, don't talk to flat earthers about Dish TV then.
No. I keep forgetting Discworld from Terry Pratchett, which is a great. If you need some comedy and fantasy, go read the Discworld novels. They're awesome.
So yes, Casey, your right finger and your left ear while standing on one foot, while having the antenna in your teeth. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the type of antenna twister you would do to get it just right.
And the 20th century advancement of fixing something was to hit it.
Yes, I would tap it. If it didn't work, if it didn't get it, all right, tap it on its left side, not so hard. Tap it on the top hard. Yes.
That's actually a joke in one of the Doctor Who's. Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor, the one with the scarf. He's in E-space, a different universe or something like that. And it's like, he's trying to get a computer to work. Hang on, here's something I picked up from 20th century Earth. Bang! And it just works.
Yep.
Which is interesting because I think you mentioned it yesterday, where if the computer there's a psychic relationship. If you're angry with your computer, the computer just is like a mirror, and it's like, well, I'm just going to keep going. I mean, I jokingly say, "Oh, my computer's not working. Are you talking nicely to it?" Because there seems to be
you build up a negative frequency to your devices, and you create your own poltergeists that attack you back through self-created gremlins.
Oh, good. See, now it is a joke, but it's based in truth. Are you talking nicely to it? You got to talk nicely to it.
It doesn't matter. You could be talking nice to it, but you're angry as fuck inside. Okay, there's plenty of baby boomers who can't figure out how to get that computer to do what they want to do, and they're so frustrated, mad inside, they're creating the poltergeist effect.
Yeah, and then like my mum's got the same thing. Oh, I can't learn that. Well, you can. You just refuse to learn it.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a person that has 4 filing cabinets in the office.
Yeah, and your 9-year-old grandson's already mastered it. You can learn it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And at the moment I'm throwing seeds of like, well, maybe go to a Mac, because you know what the Mac operating system is so I keep saying once you get it, the operating system is so user friendly. It's like click done. But if you're on a PC, you have to sort of download a gerbil and pray to Satan and Shiva. It's all these different things. And a Mac is like click. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, exactly. Done.
Yeah.
Click done. Not click wait.
Yeah. Mind you, if you're doing hardcore stuff on a Mac, you get the beach ball of death where the color symbol like I'll do. But if that's high end, like recording music or rendering, and it's like, oh, just do something. But for someone who's just using spreadsheets, Excel and documents, and it is so simple.
I think Linux is probably a faction of the Free Earth Resistance and the whole open source movement. When you look at what they did, all done by volunteers, and after 25 years in technology as a technical writer, being forced to work on all kinds of different machines and operating systems, there is no more stable workhorse machine now than Linux. And it's completely secure. It never gets viruses, and it can do anything now. You can if you're professional and you can't code, like if you're a video editor and you don't know how to code, probably get the Mac, because they really trim off the last 5% so you can focus on your trade and not worry about looking under the hood and maintaining your machine as well. But if you're really comfortable with computers, Linux is just the most amazing thing now for anything, book preparation, writing, sound recording, everybody. It's just unbelievable. And every single one of those applications was developed 3, 4, 5 times, well, through dozens of development phases as they mature. Look at GIMP. Anybody know what GIMP is?
Yeah, I've got
Anybody?
GIMP.
The GIMP?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Linux equivalent of Photoshop, right? It's just an amazing tool. What you can do with that tool. It's a full photo editing suite for an advertising company, right? All done for free. Now think about that for a sec, because that one application alone probably made $250 million for Mac. And a bunch of guys went out, forfeited that equity, and just went out and did it and made it available to the public. So I don't know what to make of Linux and the whole open source movement. I think it's freer resistance. Over.
Well, it makes sense.
I think the whole open source community has all the great benefits of showing how communities can come together and work together, et cetera, et cetera. But this, I want it now, instant gratification community the worlds that we live in, wants to pay for it. Wants the simplistic of being advertised to. Okay, and unfortunately, there's not enough money to advertise free open source.
It's a service-based.
It's a service-based system, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're a lawyer or an engineer or a draftsman or an architect, you're going to stay with the Mac for the most part, right?
Right.
You're not going to venture into Linux. But it's just one of those things, right? It's like muscle cars in the 70s. Once you get into Linux, you never get out of it. It's like a Harley Davidson thing. It's a whole subculture. And when you've spent a couple decades in it, because I flipped to Linux in '97, I went to an early version of Red Hat on all my home computers. Then I went to Mandrake, and then I went to Ubuntu for a while. I went to Debian, straight up Debian for a while, then Ubuntu, and now it's just Linux Mint is like the best thing out there. It's just unbelievably stable. Every application is coded for Linux now. Everybody turns over their source code, Zoom, Skype, and you can do a compile on Linux. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, may the power of computers compel you.
Just waiting for that pole flip or EMP, and they're all fucked. So that technical too.
It won't matter what operating system you have, you're still fucked.
See the pole flip pops up occasionally, where even the magnetic pole flip that will stuff every electronic thing on the planet, won't it?
Yeah. If there's a magnetic pole flip, there's a crustal pole flip.
Oh, okay.
They're one and the same.
I've been really accustomed to being without power. It happens about 5 or 6 times a month up here. Usually it's done.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, usually it just flickers and comes right back. But sometimes it can be out for 2 or 3 hours, and you just sort of get used to it, right? I could easily set up a backup battery system. I just haven't gotten around to that yet. So, but I should. But it's nice. You just light some candles, and it's just really nice.
So if there were an electromagnetic EMP wave, what would it do to your devices?
Well, it would fry them all. Everything would be done here, but it would be very easy to just go forward. I mean, we didn't have electricity up here until 2014. So everybody who my father-in-law came here in 1947. So, do the math. I mean, the majority of their lives up here was without electricity, right? So, they used to burn oil lamps. I mean, everything they did up here, like they could make pig fat candles, or, candles out of certain fruits and oils and stuff like that. Just anything to keep a flame going, because it was something that you needed, because,
you only lose, you'll lose internet, TV, and your phone.
Yeah.
And then all the power boxes on the poles will blow up too. That's the big problem.
Yeah, but I mean, you could still survive by lighting a fire, which we talked about on the roundtable last night. I like freaking people out by saying, "Do you know how to start a fire without any technology?" And it's telling to see. Like, I don't want people to try and do it. Just knowing the idea shows that you're an advanced human, and I'll accept rubbing two sticks together. It's like, yeah, fair enough. That you get a C+ effort because there is a certain way of starting a fire with two sticks. You got to do it properly.
Have you ever done it?
No,
I did it.
but
I did
know-
it. I did it in Cub Scouts and
No.
Boy Scouts and Indian
Yeah,
Guides.
yeah. Well, yeah.
The
I
whole,
think I must have.
twisting
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So
I know how to start a fire. Yeah.
When's the last time you did it though?
That's not my point. I know the idea. See, I don't need to prove it to you.
Put yourself in application. It's very different. Let me tell you something. If you ever try to start a fire with wet wood, that's when you know if you can make magic or not.
Yeah, but my point is, with the way that society is, application, but no one knows the actual idea of it first. So what about them? That's what I'm talking about. Once the MP hits, then of course we'll shift into we actually have to do it now.
Exactly. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Andrew. Who could start a fire faster? Me. All right. For all of you out there, here's a little hint. The best personal home fire starter you can get is a cotton ball and Vaseline. You just need one spark and poof, one little bit of flame, and that Vaseline and cotton ball will go for 8 to 10 minutes. Even if you got wet twigs, you will start a fire.
Yeah.
Well, you've got 3 acres to play around with fire, and I've seen you actually build a fire. Oh, this is just a small fire. It's like that's the size of a V-dub.
Well, I didn't have a lot of wood,
Yeah, no, that's what, and you got a lot of space to do that. But living in an apartment, not so good. So yeah, you've got practice, and you do ceremony to the fire.
Just a wee bit, exactly. Just a wee bit of practice.
Yeah, fire is super cool, man. We do controlled burns up here sometimes, so we'll burn a whole hectare at a time, and we do it with strategically laying out kerosene. And then you got to go in and turn the land, and that's when you're getting ready to plant something here. And the natives do that too. The Quebecois, they do strategic burn when they want to clear a hectare or something. But it's really powerful to be around a fire that big. That it's almost wild, but it's contained. It's just amazing. And then David and Durbin, my 2 abaca cutters, they're building a home at the other edge of my property there. And they did a big burn last week as well. It was like, a couple trees went up. It's quite something to see. You just kind of stand and you just go, wow, that's really amazing. And then I had a neighbor's house. I'm looking at it right now. He's rebuilt it, but 2 years ago it burned down. I was actually on air when it happened, Monty. So what is that sound? I don't think that's rain hitting the tin roof. Like I said it then I went out and the whole house was up in flames. And up here was a huge fire. This was like a 600 square foot base floor wood house, and it just went up. I forget. When I came out, it was at the height of the fire, and what drew me out was the sound of the flame, because it's when a fire gets that big, the actual sound of flame is really loud.
Yeah, exactly, it's loud.
Yeah. I strangely enough, synchronicity. I saw a meme in the last couple of days of the best museum ever, and it's a shot of like a freeway or a highway with a turnoff, and it's got the sign of Museum of Fire, and just further down the road there's all this black smoke, and so the Museum of Fire I think was on fire. So
exactly.
Like, yeah. And here in Australia, because of the Aboriginals, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking like thousands of years ago, there was megafauna, and they were used fire to hunt and corral. And because they did it so many times, the ecosystem, not 100%, but the ecosystem needs fire to go through to rejuvenate everything. And that's why we have a lot of bushfires. And I was on the Unfuckers chat at the start of the week saying Melbourne's had its mildest summer in 19 years. Oh, you must have loved that. No, I'm Australian. We need to have heat waves so I can sweat it out. You know how plants need to have fire to germinate. That's how Australians survive. We have peak heat for about a week, and then we can go about our lives. I haven't had that purge yet. It's like, oh, we're back in the winter again.
Yeah.
Well, this sucks.
It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. But you've had a mild winter, mild summer. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking to someone who lives in snow. I'm
I
like,
know.
what?
Well, it's fire season's coming up for you again. Don't worry.
Well, no, we've missed that. That's
Oh, you
the
don't.
point.
You don't have a fire season. Okay.
No, well, who knows with this wacky climate change, and I'm saying that naturally, because and weather war. Like, well, yes or no question, because we'll spend 45 minutes on it. Texas, what happened in Texas with the snowstorm? Was that natural, or was it weather wars, or?
Oh no, it was natural. Polar
Okay.
vortex does that on a regular basis.
Okay.
And in fact, it happened in Texas in 2011, 2013, and 2015. Okay. So it's not like it's the first time. While they were building these grids, they had all that shit happen. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, slight problem.
Whenever there's the El Nino, not low Nino, whenever it's the opposite of El Nino, you have polar vortexes that come down low.
Yeah, I'm stuck in that media, the global narrative, where apparently history started in 2016. And even now, that's the fun part of ignoring it, where like, hang on, it's 2021. I think maybe I'm still stuck in 2015, but part of my memory still thinks it's 1989, because people say, what's your closest target? Oh, Eastland. And I live in, I'm in Ballarat, which is 100 kilometers away. You know, where you grow up, you grow up and you've got your local landmarks. I've moved out of Ringwood 30 years ago, and I instantly go, oh, it's there. No, wait a minute. I'm nowhere near it.
I'm nowhere near that. Exactly.
And, fuel prices have gone through the roof, even here, where, I remember when a pot of beer, which is about that size, was $1.80. And it's probably about $5 now.
I remember when a pack of cigarettes was 99 cents.
Yeah.
Oh, how much are they now?
$11.
Yeah. I know people like, I'm quitting smoking when packets get to $5. They're over $20 now.
Sorry, $8.38 now, but some of them can go up to $11.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, because I'm not sure how much tobacco is grown in Australia, but America does have its own tobacco harvest.
Yes.
Yeah. Probably the largest cigarette smuggling operation in the world is run out of the a.w.a. Mohawk Reserve at the
oh hell yeah, all those Indian guys are tobacco smugglers.
Yeah. Do you know those Mohawks? You can find those Mohawk smokes in the beach towns on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. So some Costa Ricans are working with the Mohawks to bring Canadian Reserve cigarettes into Costa Rica. Mind-boggling.
That's funny. So do you still have a rat problem up there?
No, I've never had really a rat problem.
No. The other rat. The giant rat.
Yeah. Not on this show. Not on air.
Okay, that's fine.
And if all things hold true, it'll be like within 2 revolutions of the sun and the moon, this will all be taken care of.
And then your rat problems will be done, and you'll just have capybaras roaming the
Grazie,
neighborhoods.
Godfather. Grazie.
Exactly. Grazie, Godfather. Just a few capybaras running around there.
I'm with you, audience. I have no idea what they're talking about. It's all white man code.
When it's news and it's inked, we'll do it on air because it's an unbelievable story. It's stuff that happens to be at this little nowhere pueblo in the middle of the mountains is just mind-boggling. Yeah,
it's fun when Hijacker refers to as like God Emperor of Costa Rica, and it's like, he's just a Canadian. Calm down. He's living the life. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like you could save the planet. Yeah, but does he want to?
That name is kind of like Beetlejuice. Just don't say it 3 times within a minute, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, he might suddenly appear. What? I've heard my name.
I'm here to kill the buzz. Like, well, at least you're honest.
At least you're honest.
Well, not 100. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on.
Yes.
Yes. Past the hijacker situation. We shall not let his essence hijack the very show we talk about.
So, what beloved childhood entity, story, or toy do you think Hydra, the Democrats will try and cancel next week?
Smurfs.
Well, yeah, well, they're French, so obviously they're weak and they'll surrender.
Yes.
Are the Smurfs? Did that originate in France?
Yes.
The Smurfs. So that's that whole like Tintin animation thing they got going on over there.
Yeah. Well, they were a comic or a
what was it? Yeah, Asterix. Remember Asterix,
Yep.
the Viking?
Yeah,
That's French
Asterix and
also.
Obelix. Yep. That's the only book I used to read in the library because it was the only comics, and that's I also I had a fascination with the Roman Empire, and Asterix was a learning point. It wasn't my only Roman history.
Yeah.
But it took a while. Like the Druids called Getafix, and 20 years later, Getafix. You have to. Yeah, you read this like I don't know what it means, but you actually have to say it out loud. Like the chief was Vital Statistics or something like that. It was just very good comedy, and they're like 50s or 60s. I can't remember. Apparently, one of them passed away recently, which in the last 10 years. The creators.
So they tried canceling Mr. Potato Head and it didn't work. But this is the second time they've tried to cancel Mr. Potato Head. And he's like, bring it, bitches. I'm a potato. Cancel my ass.
Yeah. It's like that guy Cabbage in the UFC. He just can't be knocked down.
Right.
Yeah, the Muppets are racist. And that's what they're doing. They're going through history and like they don't realize when it was made. And it's like because they've got an Italian and it's a stereotype. And it's really weird how these people think, oh, that person's an idiot. So therefore they think every Italian's an idiot. It's like, that's not how it works. Because technically you could have The Simpsons cancelled because the entire show is all based on stereotypes.
Yeah.
And since
exactly.
since I'm older than Homer, I could be offended of being of Homer because I'm tired of the remember when he was a lovable idiot and now he's just a moron?
Yes. Well, he was a lovable idiot moron.
Yeah. And the latest thing from The Simpsons, I don't watch it anymore because it hasn't been funny for 15 years. They used the SJW thing. Lisa said, you used SJW. That's what the right wing used to denounce or something. Like they've gone political. And it's like, can we go back to jokes? Yeah, bring back Conan. He wrote the monorail episode. That's brilliant.
Right. And something to the whole cancel culture and banning of books. Throughout all of the history of the book banners, when have the people banning the books been the good guys?
Yeah, well, I'll wait.
So, cancel culture. You aren't the good guys when you're banning books.
Are you on the white side of history? I've been waiting to say that joke.
Exactly. Are you on the white side of history?
I could tell.
Yeah. It's like, where can I bring this up wwithout taking too much out of context?
Like elbowing into a crowded elevator with that one, Monty, but you knew you had to get into that lift.
I've been waiting for that lift. I've been waiting for that lift for about 28 days. Not this one, not this one, not this. Here we go.
Yeah.
I would thank Meg for this one. I like Pokemon, but I can't see it going down for animal slavery. Yes, it could.
Yeah.
It just takes one drunk cancel culture guy to do it.
And another thing. That's the ridiculous of it. As on eBay, they've actually canceling people trying to sell the Dr. Seuss books that have been banned or removed, but you can still buy Mein Kampf on it on eBay.
I know nothing about this. Educate me. What could Dr. Seuss, what could Green Eggs and Ham have possibly done to offend
it's racist.
people?
Apparently, it's racist.
How so?
I don't know. I just saw how it was. I didn't read about it. It just like it's against white eggs. Thank you, Sean. Yeah. Someone showed a picture of a Chinese character He eats with sticks. And it's like, yeah, they're called chopsticks. It's not really a jump here. It's not offensive. It's an observation. Unless, what are we going to change chopsticks to?
Yeah.
Non-fork eating implements?
Yeah. Over in China, they had this Canadian that went over about 25 years ago, and he started out in a small syndicated cable TV show in comedy sketches mispronouncing Chinese. He's famous now. Like, I forget his name though. I think he's from Vancouver, but his show went on for like 20 years. And, he's a multimillionaire now, and he's, a lot of corporations go through him to make inroads into the Chinese business community and stuff like that. But the entire comedy show was making fun of him. Like, if we did it here, it would be completely unacceptable. But this is, let me find some language for this. This is a new form of zealotry that's arisen within multiculturalism that's just absurd. I mean, it has to be destroyed.
Well, yeah, most of it, like with the blacks, because they're not African American, they're American who have African history, but they're going back to segregation. Or we want our own national anthem. Like, you're American, which being an American's an idea, being a Canadian's an idea, being an Australian idea, being English is thousands years of history. Yeah.
It comes down to whether you want to resolve your karma or equitize your karma, borrow against it for another generation, double down. And that's the crossroads we're at now. And nobody seems to be stepping up and just has the balls to say it out loud. Right? Yeah. You want to equitize your karma, meaning that, this is all going to be, translated into some kind of, commercial process, or do we resolve the karma? And if you equitize it, where does it end? And I'm not sure the American court systems want to take on the topic of slavery, because I think the research that would come into a Supreme Court case would shock everybody who's been making a living off of victim consciousness for the last 30 years in America specifically. Right.
Well, my point of that is how can you have reparations? Like, well, okay, let's
go to the disagreement first.
So
the disagreement's better comedy.
Post American Civil War, the Reconstruction laws that were done against the African Americans that were freed were pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. So the servitude laws, the indentured servitude laws, pretty nasty. Now, I do have to say that the victim consciousness culture promoters, they have gone way, way overboard. But a market was opened for them because people realized they could make money on it. And if you really want to shut the victim consciousness people down, call them for what they are and say, are you going to continue to victimize your culture, or are you going to educate them how to get beyond victim consciousness?
Yeah. Because if that mentality goes to a class action level that's adopted by a federal political party, what it'll do is it'll incapacitate the productive population of your society. I mean, it gets so you're so disincentivized to produce that you just stop producing. It's about demoralization. So let me ask a question. Go ahead, Monty. Sorry.
Oh, just my point is, like, if you give reparations to slave family, or however you want to say it, then you'll have to pay the Native Americans rent.
Oh yeah.
That's why the courts would never hear it.
Yeah.
That's why the courts would never hear it. And then all the Mexicans who were slaves too, all the Irish who were slaves too.
Irish,
Yeah,
I'm English. I've got English ancestry. Do I sue the Italian government for Rome?
No, the American.
Well, yeah, that is New Rome. But how far back do you want to go? Because, it's just, I mean, Egyptians are technically Africans as well, people. So, But yeah, even I've seen people complaining about slavery attacking Irish people, and the Irish are like, you do know that we were treated like crap for 800 years. Like,
Yeah.
Well, let me
I've
tell you
had
something.
Well, yeah,
My
I mean,
people, the Greeks, have been enslaved for 1,100 years. We beat you all, bitches. Hey,
yeah, the
me.
Greeks are always first. I don't, they came before Rome.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. And it goes back to that marathon dude, Monty. They're good runners. They're always first.
yeah.
That's right.
Like, I like the story that Ronald Williams said that I think he was a Kenyan, but it was an African who they run really well. It's like, yeah, their land's flat and they can run. If you have a lion chasing you, you can run really well. It's natural to survive. But he didn't have any shoes, and I think Adidas has got, okay, we'll give you some shoes because he's used to running barefoot. He actually hung the pair of shoes around his neck and run the race.
Well, that's because all shoes are designed to hurt your foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoes all modern shoes are designed to not actually go by your normal mechanical walking pace.
I think you've said it. I think you said, Andrew, that some galactic races look at us as like, why do you wear clothes? It's like, yeah, because we can't regulate our heat.
It's not that you should wear clothes. It's not. It's why do you not just have one pair of clothes that are super high quality that can morph into whatever you want?
Well, that's going to stuff up the economy. I mean, look at Manchester.
We like design. Because
exactly.
We like design.
Yeah,
well, literally, they can morph into whatever you want, and like there are a lot of races like you get one pair of shoes, quite literally, and they grow with you like your own skin.
Okay? Are these done on the fly? Are these memes done on the fly?
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah,
Robert is the fastest memer in South America. I know he's going to say West, but he's not in the West. And also Charlton Heston, he was slave number 42.
Exactly, slave number 42. Exactly.
Yeah, and they said it in English because when you speak Latin, he's what was it? XXXII. The Roman numerals are really hard, good on paper because you go, oh, that's what that means. But saying it out loud, like 47 is really long.
Exactly, and then the era of the fig leaf clothing. That's all artist Christian rendering. It never was real.
So
go ahead.
I have all clothes considerations here are entirely practical. The only time I consider what I'm wearing is if I'm going to town. That's it. Every other day I wake up, it's what's practical to wear today. What do I have to do today? If I have to go in and look at the a.w.a, then I throw rubber boots on, a pair of jeans, and a long sleeve shirt, thin long sleeve shirt, so I don't overheat, and a big hat. Up around the house, it's like flip flops, shorts, tank top, and that's it. And then if I'm doing a comedy show with video, I put on collared shirt.
You don't have the comfortable Mexican house shoes.
What are those?
The chanclas.
Oh, yeah.
The woven ones.
You mean these?
Yeah, the woven ones. No, you're using rubber.
No,
we're talking the woven ones.
Yeah.
Do you know
I'll look
those
for
things?
them, or maybe I'll make them.
But hey, what Bruce showed there
for just a moment, Monty.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
That piece of item of clothing that you showed that has different names across the entire planet. Like you called them flip flops. In New Zealand, they're called jandals. In Australia, they're called thongs. So you don't want to mix that up. Like with that, that's that song. Show me your thongs. Like, he's talking about footwear. Why is everyone showing their ass?
Yeah. So where I live is the most brutal place I've ever lived in my life for footwear. It took me a while to figure out why, and then another American living down here explained it to me. Because there's an acid gets into the water that's part of volcano culture, and it chews away the glue and the stitching. Doesn't matter how well made. I mean, when I came to Costa Rica, my favorite footwear was Blundstones, and I thought I was finding a home for my Blundstones. Blundstones and Costa Rica go together. No, man. This landscape eats through the soles in about a year. I've never seen anything like it. Then when I'm in Canada, a pair of Blundstones, no offense to your fine countrymen there, Monty, But they'll last me 5 years. Same thing with Birkenstocks. You're just better off buying the $8 sandals from the street vendor in Costa Rica. The Birkenstocks are going to get all chewed up and worn out and destroyed as quickly as you could think, right? It's just the rain and the landscape and everything, but the most brutal place I've ever seen for footwear. The only thing that lasts up here, and even if you don't wear stuff, so I had footwear I brought here from Canada that was brand new, like Columbia hiking shoes. I didn't wear them for a year. I went to put them on, and the humidity and the moisture had just unglued the sole from the shoe. I couldn't believe it, right? So yeah, so now it's rubber boots. And cowboy boots if they're handmade in Costa Rica with a solid sole. Those will last you 5 years. And then for walking around and working, rubber boots like $12 Wellingtons, right? So footwear is a big deal over here.
Yeah, we have the same thing here in Australia because you've got Australian conditions where, like Melbourne, it can be cold, it can be extremely hot, but then like trams or trains or cars, they get French built, which is French standard, which is totally different country. Then it comes to here, and after 1 year of the summer, the whole thing's warped. You kind of need people living in the area know what can survive the elements of that area.
Yeah, but so you just nailed it. You just brought the whole conversation full circle. So when you get into a high design culture, women or men might buy footwear that they use 5 times a year. Even in Toronto, anybody I know who had a little bit of money, guys I grew up with, hey, what are those shoes for? I wear them with this suit and blah, 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 blah. And I'm, wow, that's incredible. And then everything, when you get back in a natural environment, everything gets reprimed to what's pragmatic. Nothing more, nothing less.
Well, don't worry. The hype beasts will never come to Costa Rica. And if you don't know what a hype beast is, they're the ones that buy $900 used perfect shoes.
Wow.
Wear them once to take a picture and then take them off and put them on their wall.
Imelda Marcos.
Yes.
Yeah. Footwear is always entranced humanity. Like it's a major thing.
I remember watching the miniseries. Remember in the 80s when the miniseries was a major thing, and they did Shaka Zulu, the history of that African warrior, and like they showed how he changed warfare because he didn't understand where we're having a battle with this neighboring tribe or different people, and they would just stand on a beach with a shield about 20 meters or 40 feet apart, throw these little sticks at each other and hope for the best while wearing sandals. And he realized there's a scene where he actually runs, he's like, bugger this, and runs it straight at and tries to engage the enemy. And what he did is he shortened the spear, extended the blade, and toughened up the warrior's feet by taking the sandals off, and sort of went back to traditional things. And that's why he was so successful, because it's like World War One, where they realized they weren't fighting someone with a nasty piece of fruit, where they've got the cross-cutting of the machine guns. It was that type of jump in warfare, where it was actually using knowledge. It's like let's wear a red coat while we're in a forest. That will work out well. So the enemy can see you exactly where you are.
It was British. Always clever.
Yeah, I do like the New Zealanders. The Maori actually stopped the British, mainly because they beat the living crap out of them. Maoris are lovely people till you upset them. And it's very hard to upset them, let's be fair. But they invented trench warfare, and they had big sticks. And they beat the British to a point of like, yeah, maybe we should have a treaty with these people. And so New Zealand is got a better relationship with the natives. Not 100% perfect because, white men and treaties. Here in Australia, there is no treaties. And I put forward, that will help the national wound of actually having a treaty. But then people argue with me, well, there's been treaties with all native back then. But now people will know if you renege on it. Because I'm sure with the Native Americans, every treaty was basically one way and stuffed, and like the story that they bought Manhattan for some beads. Yeah, but from the Native Americans, like, oh, that's just a sandbar we don't give a crap about. And then they built New Amsterdam and they thought, oh, that's a bit long, so we'll just, the English came and it's like, no, it's York, not Amsterdam. Yeah, like even here in Australia, the English gave it to us the name Australia. Beforehand, the Dutch called it New Holland. And Zeeland is actually in the Netherlands as well. That's where New Zealand comes from. So, yeah, the Dutch were here first, but then our history is told that Lieutenant Cook, the captain of the Endeavour, discovered the east coast of Australia, which is slightly ironic because I think the French were here first. But mainstream history, it's a nice story, but who knows?
It's a nice story, and that's all that it is, fiction.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not even talking timelines.
We're just talking the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like even here in Australia, there was 140 years of frontier wars where the colonialism pushed into the Aboriginal areas and some fought back, strangely enough. Not acknowledged at all. It's gaining traction now because people are like, well, wait a minute. Like in the United States, you have Memorial Day, which is like your is that on? It's not Remembrance Day, is it? It's a different day where you celebrate the military.
Yeah, that's Memorial Day.
Yeah, we have Anzac Day, which is the date that the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps landed in Gallipoli. And it's our Memorial Day where we honour all the fighting forces of Australia, but they don't include the frontier wars, which is weird because it was the English colonials fighting against Aboriginals who were Australian. So that
and then the paid gunfighters that were hired, the killers that were hired to, paid per head.
Yeah. Like you would know what happened about in Tasmania, where they just formed a line and just walked up, and the British arrogance. We wiped them all out. It's like, no, some of them got on boats and left. They're not dumb.
Exactly, they're not dumb.
So, and that's the fun part of history, where apparently we're the smartest people alive, and it's like, no, like, Archangel Gabriel will come down. It's like, if we were renting, we wouldn't get the bond back. I'll put it that way.
Exactly. If we were renting, you're not getting your security deposit back. You fucked this up a little too much.
Yeah, the Great Barrier Reef. What have you done to this water feature just off Queensland? What the hell, man?
Exactly. All right, so we're at a point, guys. Let's delve into some of the more juicy, comical subjects that we've got. Monty, I know you got a list that you wanted to dip into there.
Well, Kids in Cages has changed its name now because when it was Obama, it was I can't remember. Someone actually, basically, when Trump did it, it was evil, but now the overflow stations under Biden, and they're exactly the same. So you've got that. Someone pointed this out, and this freaked me out as well. It's like, do you know fire trucks are actually water trucks?
Whoa. What a concept.
Yeah, I know. Freedom fighter. Firefighter. What's a freedom fighter? They fight freedom. Concentration camps. See, I've only got a list, but what's happening with the state? What's the state of the State of the Union? Because people are wondering where Biden. Do you think Biden can talk longer than 7 minutes?
Oh, they'll coke him up. Don't worry.
They'll get a better clone.
They'll coke him up. Don't worry. His wife will be booby shotting him in the corner.
Mainline it into a vein.
Exactly. He'll be fine. He'll be dead afterwards, but he'll be fine. Don't worry.
Get the cocaine clone out. There we go.
Exactly. I'm gonna coke him up and put a bunch of horses on the back behind the screen. He'll be fine.
Oh, okay. So he'll just do that tennis thing where he's just reading the prompter.
Right. Teleprompting, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I suppose now what's being said, that will be farcical. So
thank you, Sean. There is a puppet hole in his ass, yes.
Yeah, it's strange that it's only been 6 weeks and he's calling for unity, but you lost 11,000 jobs on the first day. They're bombing Syria. They're getting rid of Dr. Zeus and Mr. Potato Head, and everything. It's strange thing for unity.
Well, I did say it was going to be an absolute disaster of a presidency for him. Okay, and if Trump won, it was going to be even worse for him. Let's be honest. He didn't save the world. And they were going to expect arrests after his election, and no arrests were going to come.
Oh, no. Well, that's the thing. Like Trump's CPAC speech, where it's like the whole when you'll think they're kicking the can down the road, and it's like I felt that where it's like, oh, he's starting again. So in a way, we've gone back to 2015, 2016,
right?
And you'll just go have another 4 years, and I'm like, I've done this. We need to fire the Inner Earth writers because they suck. Did they get them from like Lucasfilm? What's going on? It's just really bad.
And they're going to start another, instead of Q, it's going to be R. And instead of 17, it's going to be 18. Okay.
Yeah. Well, what's the latest, like, because I keep getting asked this from people, and like, I don't know. I just know the person who knows the Akashic Records. I can't read them yet. What's an Inner Earth report you want to give? Because I know, like, we're in season 4 now, and quite frankly, it sucks. Are we still Are we still in the previously on, and we're still going through season 3?
Well, as we've told before, the Lizard CFO and COO were replaced. Now we still have a Lizard, CEO, COO. The Lizard, there's still a Lizard accountant in place, the treasurer. Okay. Now that guy is definitely having some issues going on. He's got to show his double cooked, triple and quadruple cooked books. They're looking for where the loosh has gone. Okay. And there's a lot of lizards in the corner going, oh, we didn't touch it.
Nah, man, no idea where it is.
Yeah. Okay, and there's some Pablo Escobar lizard in the corner going, it wasn't me. Okay.
I just have a small importing business.
Yeah, I got a small exporting business to Alpha Centauri. Really?
I am an honest businessman, a legitimate businessman here.
Exactly. So we've got Narcos Galaxy going on, Galactic Narcos going on here. Now, the particular CFO situation, they're not going to remove him because there's a particular quantum code to the way they do their bookings. And until they get the actual full cipher and everything, his job's pretty much secure. Because in all reality, when you're running a black market farm like this, you can't have real books.
No.
Okay? You can't have real books.
You don't want to be ordered by the prime creators. Like, what the hell?
Exactly. The whole surface world's running this fiat economy. Well, as above, so below, as so below is above. They have got their own version of fiat loosh. Okay?
This loosh is real because we have faith in it.
Exactly. Now, the replacement CEO, he's having a tough time getting the surface management systems to stop skimming. Okay? They're doing all of those oligarchs skimming off the top. They're putting their loosh baths together, and it really right now he's having a tough time of implementing his authority. And you've got a few like mafia dons giving him the middle finger back. And is he going to replace management? Well, right now, he really can't. Now, the COO. Now we have a different situation here. We've got Elon Musk, with his space penis blowing up on stage. We've got Chinese and Omanis landing on Mars. Okay. Oman. Okay. Yeah. And United Arab Emirates are landing on Mars. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got some definitely management issues going on there.
just a little. Yeah.
And those management issues are starting to play out in ways that the Hollow Earth controllers don't really like. The board members are rattling the cages of the management system.
Well, that's sort of what I'm seeing now. I'm probably wrong, but at the moment, this is what I'm seeing, where they're allowing the New World Order to go ahead to expose themselves, so they can sort of do a clean house, and because in a way, the narrative's got to control basically, and by having the bad management expose themselves, you can wipe that out, and from the perception of humanity, we got rid of the bad guys, and there's back to an element of control, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. Now, ultimately, what's going to go on next? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck really knows?
Yeah.
I can't. Right now, when I look at this energy, it's so skewed, misrepresented, giant train wreck about to happen. But there are some clear lines that at some point the board of directors is going to give an edict and say, fix these 5 things, or we're going to shuffle management on the surface. And they'll replace the CEO, CFO, COO, and surface management at the same time.
So it's an element of, like, one way I've looked at it is it's natural chaos compared to controlled chaos. It's leaning towards where things have got they aren't controlling the chaos, and they want things fixed so it can stay in their parameters. There's too much possibilities happening.
I will call it more co-creative chaos.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that works. Yeah.
Okay. Is it free range chaos? Yeah. We could apply free range organic chaos here.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's leaning towards that. Losing it's not controlled chaos where we know this system and everyone's fighting in the sandbox, but the sandbox broke on its side and the sand's spilling out a little bit, and people are walking away and going to the jungle gym and all that type of stuff. That's right. Sort of how I'm seeing it, where they want to rein it in to stay in their parameters so they can control the chaos.
Yeah, but every time they try to control the chaos, it's not responding the way they want, which is creating more of this other type of chaos that they don't want.
Yep, and the Prime Creator is giggling, and that's kind of why we don't know what's going on. Even the Prime Creator is like, I'm not going to look forward. I'm just going to watch this. This is awesome. Eating popcorn.
Exactly. Eating popcorn, chewing on some chicken wings every now and then. Okay. Now, I want to... The Hollow Earth culture itself, they know that this farm is being run wrong. They know that the board is wrong, and there are good guys down there.
Well, yeah, a few of them. As above, so below. There has to be not a resist. Yeah, I'm sure there's an element of resistance, but in a way, there's us just sharing information. That if it's a complete mirror image, not all of them are 100% evil, because we would be living in a completely different world. Right. Like, they've got total control over the planet, and yet we can still talk on the internet, and like, yeah.
So I liken it to like the old Western towns where you've got a corrupt sheriff in town, but he still keeps the law. He may be corrupt as fuck. He may be do all these bad land deals, but there's virtually no crime. Okay. Mm-hmm. And everything runs right. So you got to give the guy credit. Everything runs right. Yeah, again, he's doing bad land deals. He's taking advantage of people, but there's no crime. There's not random people coming into the town and killing people. There's, again, that something is working right. Now we're beginning to see the good guys who want the royal sheriff to come in town, or the United States Marshal to come in and take care of the corrupt sheriff. But the big fear is, what happens if you take the sheriff out? Does the crime come back?
Yeah, is a power vacuum. It sounds kind of like the Roman Empire before it got too corrupt and debauchery and collapsed because of arrogance and everything else like that. At the heyday, the Romans would come in and basically, you can keep everything you want. We're just your superiors, and remember that. Don't fight against us, and then you can, there's a little bit of consent, but you can still have happy lives. And if you go against us, we'll crush you like a bug.
Well, yeah, yes, I get that part.
Yeah.
In this particular sense, the unrest in the townsfolk is, who do we call to be the new sheriff or to be the new marshal that's going to come in and replace the Hollow Earth police?
Yeah, and in a way
And
that
are we ready to have a Hollow Earth police investigation like New York in the 1970s, dealing with
Yeah.
all the corrupt cops?
Serpico.
Yeah.
We need
What
a
was it?
Serpico from the inner.
What was it? 35% of the New York cops of the drug task force were arrested and sent to jail.
we had similar
35%. Yeah.
we had something similar here in Australia, in New South Wales and Queensland. I can't remember the name, but there was an investigation and they cleaned it. It's still there, but I think that the corruption has just gotten too big and out of control. And so you have to prune it back to be manageable so it can hum along. Like, I mean, Bruce gives the example of Costa Rica has a level of corruption, but it works. But then you get the United States where it doesn't work, and the egos and total world domination and all that type of stuff kicks in, which is you need thinking of the owners of the farm that is the earth. You want everything humming along, where humanity's like, we're doing well while energy's being siphoned off. If humanity realize, hang on, this person's sucking the crap out of me, sucking the life out of me, that's not good, because you'll have an uprising. You need to have that slight balance, and that's kind of with like the New World Order. The curtain has been removed because they're making their major play, and everyone's like, well, this is wrong. On base level of like, well, hang on, because back in the day, we could live on Earth without knowing all this crap in the background.
Exactly. And I'm actually looking up, so it's much higher. The Serpico numbers are much higher.
Yeah, I thought it was much where.
So the sense I got is that specifically the drug squads in the major urban police forces, they were sort of subcontracted to groups of people within the police force that would operate like privateers, which are criminals who rob criminals. We went through the exact same thing in Toronto. It was like a year-long trial. It happened about 8 years ago. And this like 15-year crew of like 6 or 7 guys. And when they put their papers in the newspaper, you're going like, those are the good guys? And then I had friends in Toronto. I had acquaintances, like one guy I knew from an ex-girlfriend, but he got pinched. He was distributing ecstasy. And he ended up doing 7 years. He had to go, and he got sent to a U.S. prison as well. And I guess justifiably so. He was a chemical drug dealer. But while he was on trial, he was free on bail. And we went out with him and his girlfriend a number of times. He told me a lot of stuff, like they just straight up take your money. Like if you have, and every drug dealer has cash on hand, right? Like $100,000 in their condo or something. Those drug force, this is why I call it privateering. Like any cash they confiscate never makes it to any kind of an evidence locker or anything like that. And it was just outrageous. And Toronto is like, kind of like, as far as the world goes, Toronto and Canadians are perceived as like the good people. But just, I mean, this drug crew was as rotten as that, Street Kings movie with Keanu Reeves and Forrest Whitaker. And I've seen every city go through it. It's like a rite of passage, like a puberty for a large urban center. I guess New York went through it first, LA, and then I think all the Canadians. I mean, I imagine some of the most fascinating police stories you could hear right now. If anyone wanted to write a book, if anyone's out there listening, is a detective in Vancouver. Because Vancouver is this international city now. The Russians work out of there, the triads, like everybody, right? So it's probably got one of the most amazing criminal underworlds right now. But nobody, there aren't that many Vancouver stories out there. But Toronto lost its virginity. It's a corrupt big city police force now officially, and we just accept it, right? This is what part of it is. We've accepted a lot of this corruption. We just. Yeah.
Well, as Andrew
Over.
likes to point out, what Andrew likes to point out is like with all this white collar level of corruption, there's really no one to enforce it. And it goes back to the sheriff analogy. If you have the
Yeah.
U.S. Marshal come in to clean up the corruption to calm it down, is that U.S. Marshal corrupt as well? Is it a knight in shining armor? And who would? It's not Trump. Trump puts himself as I'm the savior, but you can see all the mistakes that Trump did, like not clamping down on big tech. He had 4 years, and now he's having a go at it. I mean, Ted Cruz said it interestingly, where he would go to the Trump administration. We need to do something with big tech and clamp it down, and he was stonewalled by everybody in the administration. And it's like you could have the whole thing about Twitter and Facebook and YouTube could have been dealt with 2-3 years ago, but it wasn't.
Yeah. It's an interesting phenomenon. I think publishing rules should be extended to them because it's almost like a newspaper now, right?
Mhm.
So wouldn't that be scary when you see libel law come into like Twitter or Instagram and Facebook? So long. Okay, well, we're going to do away with the government censorship, but so and so in Seattle has filed $100,000 libel lawsuit against you. And that hasn't really started yet, right? I shouldn't give people ideas, but
no. Well, that's the thing.
Are your people? There's a whole field of enterprise there suing people for libel.
Well, I mean, watching a lot of Marvel and DC, I realized if I lived in a superhero world, I would either start a construction company and insurance company, because every time there's a fight, there's mass destruction. It's like if you live in Metropolis with Superman, construction and insurance, you'll make a killing because I mean, it looks great on paper, but maybe I just think about it too much. It's like, well, that building's gone, oh, that car's gone.
Especially if the Hulk gets in on it.
Oh yeah. The Hulk is he makes a mess. Makes it very mess.
I'm trying your Angels of Shield.
Yes.
I've watched 2 episodes. Like I think I started because the download site only begins at episode 12 of season 2, so I'm starting there. But it's interesting enough. Yeah.
Well,
I'm afraid to get addicted though.
Yeah, the first 5 seasons are actually linked to the MCU movies, and so it's just like it adds to it, and whatever happens in the movies, there's small ramifications in the thing, and but it's written where you don't really need to watch this TV show to understand the movies. It's an add-on. It's like Star Wars with the EU. It's like Rogue One. Rogue One is the idea of, it's a paragraph from the very first Star Wars movie in the opening crawl. Spies found these plans. Oh, I wonder what that's like. And you have a 2-hour film. And if you don't like the 2-hour film, never watch it again and just read the paragraph and you can continue on your day.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Doctor Who, I've never been able to get into, Monty. I don't know what it is, but I can't.
Good writing, man. You got to give the modern Doctor Who's good stuff. It's good writing. So I just spent I spent a couple minutes here looking up from the Knapp investigation in Serpico. It was 7,900 cops were arrested and indicted. Now they were separated into 2: meat eaters or plant eaters. Plant eaters were just basic cops who took money, and meat eaters were ones who actively looked and took money from pimps and drug dealers. Okay, so the percentage was actually 80% of the actual drug enforcement situation was arrested. 80% of those cops. And then the totality of the force at that time, which was 47,000 people, the number of arrests was equivalent to 35% of the entire force.
Ow.
Okay. Wow. Right.
That's so a third.
A third, exactly. A third of the entire force.
I haven't seen the movie. Is it worth watching?
It's absolutely worth watching. Definitely, it's definitely a dated movie, and there's some some stuff that goes on, but it's absolutely worth watching. Now, the other one to watch is a American Gangster with Russell
Yeah.
Crowe and
Yes,
Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
It's very similar in concept, and you get into the depths of the corruption that was going on then. But police corruption hasn't changed. New York went through that, but Chicago never went through that. Los Angeles never went through that. So you can imagine how corruption has been in all those other cities that never had a NAP investigation, that never had a major corruption investigation.
Yeah,
Yeah?
it's just the norm. Yeah.
Right. It's the norm. It's the absolute norm.
How do we feel about that?
Corruption?
No, what specifically this example, the cops and how they treat drug dealers. Like I'm not really losing any sleep over it. maybe a pot grow off or something, you know.
Right.
But
So
if you're Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, I think you belong in jail.
It's different, right? But the majority of the guys that are getting pinched by these corrupt cops were not high-level dealers. They had less than an ounce of pot on them, less than freaking a quarter ounce of blow on them. Okay, they were dealing in the several $100s, not several $1,000s.
Yeah, they're hitting street dealers and not the kingpins at the other end of the supply chain.
Right,
that puts it all in perspective. I don't feel good about that.
The guys that can't fight back, who are you going to report your crime to? Yeah, this cop beat the shit out of me and took my drugs. And guess what? I still have to pay my dealer back on the drugs that were stolen.
Yeah, unless you get extremely the cops need someone to look like take down someone big so they look like they're doing their work, or you get like Escobar label where you become infamous and like Capone, if you sort of become uncorruptible compared to them.
Monty, you're going to enjoy the story I can't tell today when I finally can tell it.
Oh, it's reference to that other thing that
the thingy thing. Yes.
Yeah, but it's escalated. It jumped up a notch.
Okay.
Like an Anchorman street fight. It got out of hand quick.
Yeah, okay. I just realized we sound like the mafia. You know that thing with the thing? Yeah. Did that happen? And what about the other thing?
Our friend, the fish guy in Jersey.
Our friend, the fish guy in Jersey.
Yeah. So he did that thing. Yeah, I've got that thing. I think actually it's the De Niro and not Bruce Willis. Who's the comedian? Billy Crystal. Where I think it's analyze this or analyze that one.
Analyze this.
Where they have they're talking crime, but there's no information in the words. So Paulie, did he do that thing? Yeah, and then after that we'll do the other thing. Okay, you go ahead then.
But you told me to do that thing. I didn't tell you to do that thing.
No, this thing, not that thing. All right.
What thing are you talking about?
Yeah. When you said take care of them, you need to clarify. So I pushed him off the roof was wrong. Yeah.
Exactly.
You said take care of him. It's like, yeah, give his money back. He's a good guy. Money back.
Exactly. Don't kill him. Usually when you say take care of him, it's a different thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Rosa. Oopsie. My bad. Exactly. Well, it's like watching Breaking Bad, where the writing is so good. Unfortunately, it's about meth dealers, and it didn't romance meth. But I'm sure some people will think, "Well, that's a good idea."
Yeah,
and it didn't romance the creating of it either. It showed how hard it was.
Yeah, and just all the, it's a good story. It's almost soap opera story where you try and do one thing, and then for 7 episodes you're paying for that mistake.
Yeah, well, I think all the great writing's being done in TV now. I think it's outstripped the novels. I really do. I would say like The Sopranos, like that HBO stuff. It's like way better than anything that's won the Pulitzer in the last 10 years or so. And
then you got the flip side of some shit writing out there as well, where it's like, why is this show on? Like Batwoman is back for a second season, and the ratings have just tanked completely because it's like this is the woke PC side of things, where instead of telling a good story, they're just grandstanding and being virtual signaling like white man bad, and yet you could actually like even Doctor Who now, the new Doctor Who it's like you're lecturing the audience. And people who like it say, "Oh, but Doctor Who's like been like this for years." It's like, yeah, but when it was made in the 70s, it was a good story, hit all that political crap, and also the producer and the scriptwriter, who were politically almost opposite, but they were good friends. They understood it. They actually put both sides of the argument into the allegory of the story, so you can see both sides. What we're getting now is no storyline, white man evil, or just the far left, and without anyone right is obviously Stalin.
Yeah.
And those damn Stalinists, they're everywhere.
Yeah. I remember an Australian comedian, he was talking about, I think it was in somewhere near Syria or Palestine, around there, where the Leninists were fighting back and making chaos and rebels. And he went on for 45 seconds. And the joke was at the end, I'm more of a McCartney fan myself.
That's good.
Yeah. It's the only joke I remember of Newtopia. So, but you can make silly stuff because it's an insane world. And as Bill Hicks says, I'm glad to be here, but it's getting a bit tiring of and I think the guess we get back to the point we mentioned earlier. My children have gone astray. Shut up, you alcoholic twat. The corruption's out of hand, and that's sort of where humanity's still dealing with lockdowns and all the stuff that's happened over the last 16 months. And so, yeah, Andrew, there's like a pause happening at the moment. However, that's sort of where the chaos is, because where I'm sitting in creation, I'm waiting for something, but I'm not. I'm trying to find the balance of. I think I'm stuck in the long game. Oh, something's going to happen, but the short game is like you're just spinning wheel. You're treading water. You're just spinning wheels.
Good way to put it.
Yeah.
Are you stuck in the long game or the short game? And so, unfortunately, the short game is the realm of the hopium. It's not all hopium, but it is the realm where the hopium it fully exists.
Yeah, and being I think I've had all my, as Eddie Van Halen said, sometimes. Why did you stop drinking? Well, sometimes you get a certain amount of you have your share of alcohol, and I drank mine all at once.
Yes,
and with Hopium, it's like, I've had my fill, and so where on round tables is like, well, drum's doing this and Q and blah blah blah. It's like, well, that's nice if it happens, but that's the thing about the whole Q thing that happened yesterday. Another date change. Oh, now it's April. I was like, yeah, I know this pattern. I did this back in 2014, where the One People's Trust is going to take over the finances, and everyone's going to get $1 million, and then no, it's next week. No, just another 2. It sounds like the government. Just another 2 weeks. Just another 2 weeks. Just another 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I want to get off this train. This ride sucks. And so
that's that really short-term vision, people. That's the realm of hopium. You can have plenty of short-term visions that aren't hopium. Those are called goals.
Yeah.
Those are called goals.
Yeah. Am I crazy here, guys? Or is there
Go ahead.
I will respond to that at the time you least expect and anticipate it, Ron.
Yeah, see you in October.
I'm very patient, like a jaguar. Am I crazy, or is there like a tremendous opportunity for innovation economy now? Like, if you can outcreate the collapse and get into some positive momentum, there's a whole new economy coming about. And
I agree.
I agree. Nobody's talking about that. They're giving all their intentional energy to the failed Greek drama in Washington, or the Roman soap opera, and it's just sucking energy and sucking energy and sucking energy. And just go out and do something, man. There's 1,000,001 businesses that are going to happen in the next 10 years. Consider what's going to happen to the corporate food supply or anything, and just start thinking about what you can do from a business perspective. And it's almost like a kind of a renaissance, actually.
It is. It is a secret renaissance going on, and those that are in the know can do something with it.
Yeah.
speaking about the Roman drama, the Pope has traveled to Iraq and is now touring Iraq. And today he is leading a prayer in the city of Ur, which is on the top of a ziggurat, on top of a pyramid. He's leading a prayer with a bunch of other versions of the other priests. They're all doing one giant fucking ritual. Yeah, the gold city,
Wow.
exactly. So
that sounds like, I mean, I'm just stuck on the whole, the Pope's going to Iraq. Well, that seems like a logical and sane idea. Oh, wow. But yeah, with all the history of Mesopotamia and everything else like that, it's like, I'm going, he's South African.
What
South American
about
now.
remember several 3-4 years or 5 years ago, the Russian Pope suddenly went to Antarctica out of nowhere to visit the one religious temple in all of Antarctica.
Yeah, I think John Kerry went there as well.
Yes, they all within a period of 2 weeks all went together.
Yeah, nothing sus. Nothing suspect at all. It's just nothing sus is an Australian way of saying nothing suspect. And there was a sketch comedy show from like 5-10 years ago where it was just two guys all pointing out all this weird stuff. One was a gay guy, one was heterosexual. So there was gay and straight. And so they'll all be in compromising positions where one's bending over, one's really close. Nothing sus. And so that was a great running gag. So I found a meme. So you may see that meme on my stuff a lot where nothing's sus. Nice loaf.
Now,
but it's fascinating to see, like, even Davos, where all the Paris thing, where all these people are going to fight climate change, but they all use private jets to fly in. It's just really, and the whole Antarctica thing, all in 2 weeks. And when they had the Mandela funeral, which I think was 6 months after his death, there's all this weird timing, and it's there's not much that we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but their actions aren't really secret anymore, are they? That's one sort of, we're having that sort of revelation where anything they do, we find out about it in 12 hours.
Yeah,
like the lower management.
That's been going on for a while. And I will say that their press management services are allowing 50% of that.
Now, is that the dark trying to be caught, or are these people just idiots?
No, part of their handbook of operation is to do it right up to the front and the open as possible.
Okay.
Is
that part of it where their arrogance and hubris, where they think they get it's hide
in plain sight, misdirection, glamour, magic.
Okay.
This bright light is more important than the seriousness of this ritual that's going on. And most people the glamour of the ritual will never allow them to see what is really going on.
Yeah, here in Australia, we're having a Me Too moment in politics, and most conspiracy alternative are like, well, what's this because it's a massive distraction. And like, well, what are they covering? And interesting enough, they're rolling out the vaccine. So, but it's theory. It's very hard, not hard. It's difficult. It's interesting to try and find certain things now because of that's where that chaos and we're in a pause, but anything's up for grabs and blah 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 blah. I'll stop now.
Somebody was asking, does it make it stronger when you make it public? The answer is yes, it does. It absolutely does.
Is that quantum physics? Because people view it, and some people, they entangle and they give it energy. Yeah. Yep. That's a fun part. Stuff's happening. What is it? I can't tell you because you'll make it stronger.
They're making it stronger just by telling me that. Damn it. Now, the Pope going to Ur, I cannot tell you how gigantic and revealing that is. So if people don't know what the city of Ur was, look it up. Look it up. It was the city of cities. It was the great place of it was like the fucking city. Okay. Epic and Gilbert match there. All the clay tablets came from there. Everything.
Is that Sumerian?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
And
one
the
thing.
Syrian before that, and before that, and before that, and before that is an ancient city of Sumer and Ur.
Yeah, I love mainstream history where the
What-
first
what-
civilization was Syrian, and they say it appeared at its height. That's not how things work. You can't have three guys with rocks and fire, and then the next day you've got civilization at its peak. It's like, well, what about everything else? Oh, you don't bring that up.
Yeah.
So they say that
Anthropology is the only science that can misplace centuries.
Right. They say it's from 3800 BC, but in all reality, it's a 50,000-year-old city.
Whoa.
Okay.
Ooh. When was Atlantis in that timeline?
Ur would have been one of the many cities of Atlantis. Atlantis wasn't a single city. It was a global culture with hundreds of cities.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to block out timelines, but that would, obviously, placement on the planet with, I guess, ley lines or energy and stuff like that. So yeah, if there's been a city that, obviously management's changed, but if the actual city in placement on the Earth's been there for 50,000 years, why is the Pope going there now?
Because he's doing dark fucking rituals. Okay. Okay. They're doing powerful rituals to take control of the technological system again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that a
thinking
thought, or was it?
No, there's plenty of other shit going on in the super secret societies that are beginning to realize that the technological system that they've created is not necessarily as good as when the wizard systems was there. The problem with the wizard systems, one wizard could fuck it all up. Okay?
Jeez, Barry's a bit drunk. Look what he did.
Exactly. At least with the technological system, it stops one wizard from fucking it all up.
Yeah. And is that connected to the management changes in the inner Earth, or is it separate?
That's separate.
Okay. Yeah.
But that is the secret societies who are realizing there's a management system change coming and trying to determine if they can make themselves management.
Okay, yeah, they're making a move before the action.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So come to Earth, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Mind you, we've been here a long time. That was fun last night, trying to explain to someone that the planet's been, we've been part of this game for 50 million years. No wonder we're tired. Oh, no, it's 7,000. Oh, all right, yeah. Even I think I shared with Bruce, there's like dark entities on this planet. It's like they've had enough. I'm tired of eating peanut butter each day. I want to go and eat lobster. I want to do something else.
Right. I want to go terrorize some other species. I'm tired of terrorizing these humans. So
we've probably, because of what's happened on the. Yeah. No.
Go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say.
He'll come back.
Congratulations. You've just had a tongue-tied moment. No, the last thing I want to say about the Pope,
I lost what I was going to say. It was good, though. I remember.
This Pope has done some strange ritualistic stuff, okay? Compared to all the other popes that have been around. This Pope went to the Wailing Wall. I mean, he went to Indian temples. Okay, he did a lot of things. He went to a lot of religious sites. Okay,
is he trying to unify religions? So, because the New World Order conspiracy theorists, they want a one world religion. Is he trying to bring everyone together, or is it just weird?
No. There's no such thing as the one world religion. That'll never happen. That's a propaganda farce. Do you think the Jesuits are going to want a one world religion? No. Did the Catholics want a one world religion? No. Do you think that the Hindus or the Buddhists want a one world religion? No. Okay.
Yeah. As long as
the only people that want the one world religion are the globalists who don't want religion.
Yeah, because as long as Empire Strikes Back, exists, I'm leaning towards what Yoda says. That works for me.
Exactly. Do you think the Unitarians want that? No, they don't.
And yet their name is Unity.
Exactly. The magisterium. Exactly. No one's going to get together. Okay. Until religion is to it allows itself to have natural reformations of its ideological and theological concepts, which right now no major religion is going to allow self-reformation. It would destroy the organizations.
How does China fit into this? Because at the moment they're run by idiots. I mean, the Communist Party, where they're basically atheists, aren't they?
No.
Okay.
So the vast majority of the Communist Party follow a bastardized version of Taoism. Okay. Where they do ancestral honoring, they allow the rituals and ceremonies to go on because they learned if they don't do the rituals and ceremonies, their personal lives get fucked up hardcore.
Okay. Okay. So
because it's still a haunted land, a very haunted land, and if you don't do some form of ancestral honoring, and that's burning one incense stick a year, your life gets really fucked up there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure they learned that the hard way.
Yes. Bruce, you live there. Can you tell people about that?
Oh, thank you. What a brilliant segue. Thank you, Andrew. The ritual culture in Taiwan is fascinating because Taiwan represents the ancestral culture of China. For those of you who don't know, I lived in Taiwan from 92 to 94. I've seen Taoist temple rituals. They're very psychically charged. They're very, very powerful. I've seen community rituals. Everybody does ritual together there. One of the most interesting ones is the burning of ancestor money. So you go to a Buddhist temple and you buy like a monopoly money that's been blessed by the Buddhists. And you have this red tin can in front of your house and you burn money and your ancestors can use it on the other side. So I've never seen, like when I saw this going on in Taiwan, I just could not believe the level of ritual that was in that culture. Being raised a Catholic, I thought I was accustomed to ritual, but they just take it to the next level in China. And to this day, like they haven't been diminished by the internet age or scientism or anything. There you go. Yeah.
They're called red packs and red dollars in actual China. And sometimes you'll give them to friends and family for good luck. Okay. Yeah. The lucky money. Exactly.
Everything is money there. So when you give a gift, like if you have a young person in your life, I gave it to a few of my private students and my next door neighbor, you give a home vow, you give a red envelope and you put some cash in it. You never go out and buy somebody an iPhone or maybe a girlfriend or something, but so very, very structured, the whole society. The rituals are absolutely phenomenal and powerful, like even as not being raised in them, when you're just standing back 100 feet, you can just feel the waves. The most powerful one, Andrew, I experienced was the ghost month, the a.w.a. Now, the Chinese believe that the 7th lunar month, which usually falls halfway between July and August, it's like a 30-day Halloween. And they don't go swimming because they believe spirits will drag you down in the water. They don't do big business deals. They don't get married. It's really quite fascinating, a.w.a, ghost month. Yeah. And burning of the ancestor money every day goes on for 30 days. Never seen anything like it. Oh, you must see some of this stuff with the Chinese population in Australia, Monty.
Not really. Or if they do it behind closed doors. They do a lot of fireworks for the New Year. And in Bendigo, which is in central Victoria, they have a great Easter parade where they've got the longest dragon in the world that does the parade. And it's fascinating as well. In the last 20 years, there's a new type of Chinese person, maybe from Hong Kong, where they don't learn English and they're separated. But we've had Chinese people in Victoria since 1855 during the gold rush. And only now in the 21st century, they seem to be causing problems because the Chinese people are mainly awesome. It's just there's a certain sect, if that's the right word, that are like the suburb that I grew up here in Melbourne, Box Hill, looks like a small Hong Kong now because they've just built 46 high buildings, and Melbourne's mainly flat and nothing's over 3 stories. But then you look out at the vista of Melbourne, and now they're getting up to 99 floors and all that type of stuff. And so it's basically an erection like a honeymooner's dick, right in the middle of, you've got houses, and then bang, there's this massive building. And it's like, well, why is that there? And it's
why is that? Why did they all go low level construction like Los Angeles in Melbourne? Is it an earthquake zone?
No, we hardly ever get earthquakes because Australia is basically its own tectonic plate. The edge of the plate's New Zealand, which is part of the Ring of Fire. So we have fire and flood, cyclones or hurricanes or typhoons. It's the same thing, different name, up in the northern half of Australia, like the one that hit Darwin in 1974. 5 around then on Christmas Day. On Christmas Day, thanks God, you bastard. But all the southern region, well, southeast region's green, and then because it's so big, but you hardly get any. Not earthquakes are very rare, and so we're not like Japan, where they build everything out of balsa wood and rice paper, and people would laugh at them, and then after an earthquake, it's like, oh, we can rebuild in a day. In like Newcastle had an earthquake, and 20 people were killed in a pub or a saloon type thing, because when buildings are made to stand up, but not for that level of earthquake, which is usually maybe something underneath, far down, a cave loses its roof, and then it causes that. But Andrew probably explained it a bit better.
So there's actually a reason why they don't build high buildings in big parts of Australia or other British communities. And it actually goes back to some of the early British land laws from the Exchequer. You could never build a building bigger than the King's Castle or your Lord's Castle.
Yeah.
Which is spread out to all of the colonies.
Yeah. Well, I knew that actually, because there's nothing taller than Parliament Hill in Ottawa.
Right.
And that was the rule, I was told, why the buildings don't go any higher than that. But I didn't realize it went all through the Commonwealth or out. Melbourne's not the capital. Sydney's your capital, right?
No, it's Canberra in the middle.
Melbourne.
No, Sydney was first from the European perspective, because when the British turned up, there were 700 nations across the entire country of Aboriginals. Sydney was the first colony. Melbourne, because of the gold rush, became extremely rich. And when we became a nation in 1901, I think so the Americans became a nation because they told the English to get out. Australia signed a piece of paper in a park, which was in Sydney, but the federal government was actually in Melbourne. And there's been that Sydney and Melbourne rivalry for a long time, and so Canberra is exactly in the middle between Sydney and Melbourne. That's why our national capital was basically, our Parliament House was next to a sheep farm for a long time.
Cool.
So and that's our capital of the country in its own national Australian Capital Territory, and it's in the middle of New South Wales.
So the other reason Australia got its independence is because part of Britain was going bankrupt. Okay? Remember, Britain at that time had been dealing with the many colonies and the cost to those many colonies. And then the fact that you had some corrupt-ass people doing some mean-ass stuff in those colonies, which was costing them lots of money left and right.
And like, it was
when Britain let go of Barbados, for example, and they simultaneously let go of a bunch of colonies, it's because the whole system was bankrupt.
Yeah, and it was when did Queen Victoria shuffle her mortal coil? It was around that time, because Australia was 1901. And India was a little bit later, wasn't? I can't remember when India. Oh, that was in the 40s. So, but because. Yeah, but we lost. There's a lot of nothing. Well, not nothing. There's Ayers Rock, Pine Gap, and Alice Springs in the middle.
Nothing.
Yeah, sand.
Nada.
Convicts. No, actually, no, that's wrong. Melbourne's the only city that didn't have a penal colony. All the other major cities were, and so that's makes Melbourne unique in that respect. I know it's a meme, so I'm not getting upset about it. Backpacker murderers. Well, that's more down. Those names, yeah, it's not a factual map, but they are there. Like in Darwin, people say, "What are the sharks like here?" Oh, there's no sharks. All the crocodiles eat them. So just don't go swimming. But yeah, it's that kind of makes sense. If the burden of having a quarter of an empire and just that elitism, they would get rid of stuff to save the UK, which I find fascinating. Watching The Crown, Britain's been like financial hardship for most of the 20th century. I mean, the wars didn't help, but it's fascinating they've had austerity even to the 80s or something ridiculous.
Well, yes, because of the bankruptcies because the corporations defaulted and the bankers said, "Pay us, bitches."
Yeah. Even now, apparently, they've still got austerity, and it's like, wow, Australian animals not all killers. No, yeah, the platypus is. Well, actually, no, the platypus has deadly venom, but it hardly attacks. The wombat, which is very lazy, doesn't kill you unless you drive into it, and you could have a fatal fatality in a car, but the wombat will go, "What was that?" and continue walking.
So the bankruptcy of the entire British Empire actually began right around 1844.
Oh, back then, okay.
Yeah, that's when it began, when the returns no longer started giving it back.
Prince Albert died around then, didn't he? As well, I think.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, because I find it fascinating. Maybe because when Albert died, Victoria withdrew because she loved him so much, but she wore black for the rest of her life, which was another 60 years or something. And so she was a figurehead, but she was hardly seen because she was in so much grief. And yeah, a lot of shenanigans probably played out because you didn't have a strong sovereign. Even then, the monarchy was more a symbol instead of actually part of running the government and all that type of thing.
So when the British lost the American colonies is when it began the first financial meltdown of the land holdings that were there, and that the king was issuing land holdings in lieu of coinage. And then there was a massive suing of the king for when they lost their land, they wanted coin. And that was ultimately the exchequers began, and the people at the exchequer and lord level said, "All right, you're not giving me land. Where's my coin?" Okay, and then they had to start producing more coin, and that coin had to be not just held in the British Isles; it had to be going to all of the colonies, and then some of the colonies started producing their own coin.
Okay, and yeah, when the United States and the Revolutionary War, that was King George III, who was a bit batty as well. So yeah, it would be annoying, but also it just shows that not the king or queen, not the monarch, but the next level, the ring out and the ring, and so they probably did all the business without the monarch knowing all this stuff.
Right, which then a lot of that backfired back to the monarch. All the secret societies that were doing their shit and that screwed something up, got caught, whatever was going on. The black market, where they're outright just stealing stuff from the British military and selling it on the black market. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, a bit of a patsy. Do you know in the United States they called the madness of King George? They lost the 3 because they believed that Americans wouldn't see it because they haven't seen the other 2 films. And like, yeah, I think they're smart enough to realize that it's not the 3rd movie. He's the 3rd George. But anyway.
Right. Well, guys, we're at the end of the comedy show. Let's call it a night right now. Monty, you want to give a way for people to get a hold of you?
Yeah, on YouTube, it is Wafer Thin Entertainment. On Twitter, it is at Real Monty Dean. On Facebook, just Monty Dean 0.5, as well as on Instagram, Monty.Dean. And I can be heard on Revolution Radio at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States on Wednesday morning with Planet Collingwood.
And Bruce, a way for people to get a hold of you.
Oh, you can rest assured if I want to talk to you, I'll find you.
As the man of international galactic mystery.
Yeah.
And you all know who
Yeah.
you all know who I am. You go to my website, andrewbartzis.com. We will be back this coming Tuesday for another show with Martina Grubmuller. All right, Robert, take us away.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Hello, let's create, let's co-create, and let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. Living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.